Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thank the witnesses for appearing as well, and I'm honored to have an opportunity to hopefully ask some questions that will give us all some additional insight. Having perused the legislation and perused materials associated with this hearing, I've come to the conclusion that this hearing is really less about the auditing of the operations of the Fed and more about monitoring the deliberations of the Fed, because the Fed is currently audited. And I will introduce information into the record to show that the operations of the Fed are audited. There is no question that the Fed is audited. The question is, should their deliberations be monitored? Having been a part of the judiciary for a number of years, I've come to appreciate deliberations that are held with a degree of privacy. When jurors deliberate, we don't allow the cameras in the room. We don't allow parties that are not associated with the jury to be in that room. Deliberations are important. You can get candid conversation, candid commentary when you don't have a third party in the room. So deliberations are important. We go into executive sessions to have deliberations so that we can speak candidly about issues. So this is really about the deliberations of the Fed. It's also more about the superintendency of the Fed than the transparency of the Fed. The superintendency in the sense that there seems to be a desire to manage what the Fed does. We have oversight. We are not overseers of the Fed. And our oversight authority we should exercise, and I fully support oversight of the Fed. But I don't think we want Congress to oversee the Fed. I think it would be a mistake of the highest magnitude to allow what we do here to infect the Fed. We can barely make decisions. There is great stagnation, and there is a lot of politicization of what we do. Do we really want to politicize the Fed by injecting the decisions of Congress into their deliberations? So I think also that as we go through this, it's going to be important for us to recognize that Congress has put Fed in the position that it's in. The Fed has served us well. And at some point, the independence yielding to the interference can become outright meddling. Do we want to meddle in the deliberations of the Fed? I think not. Now, with reference to the leaks, the Department of Justice is investigating, and the Department of Justice has the tools to perform a proper investigation. The Department of Justice has indicated a desire to complete this investigation. I support a thorough investigation of these leaks, but I don't want it done, this investigation done by Congress to the extent that we encroach upon what the DOJ is doing, and to the extent that we may in some way create a climate such that the DOJ won't be able to perform its duties effectively. The DOJ has indicated that it would be prudent to withhold certain testimony until it has had an opportunity to complete its investigation. I want the investigation done. I support what the DOJ is doing, but I don't want to find ourselves in the circumstance that we have with the CFPB, where Congress is taking the lead on an investigation and where we don't have all of the due process in place that should be accorded people who are being investigated. I look forward to working with the committee chairman, and if he can craft a piece of legislation that he and I can agree upon, of course I'll sign on to it. I yield back.
The gentleman